The town meeting hall was louder than usual that afternoon. People whispered in small groups. Some sounded angry, others sounded curious. At the center of the discussion was one name, Chinedu Okoye. Just 3 years ago, Chinedu was known as the quiet roadside mechanic who worked under a small rusted zinc roof near the main road. His shop was barely big enough for one car. Most days he sat on a wooden stool, wiping grease from his hands, waiting for customers. Sometimes he fixed motorcycles. Sometimes he patched old taxi engines. And sometimes he earned nothing the entire day. But suddenly everything changed. Within 1 year, Chinedu opened one modern garage in the center of town, another workshop near the University Road, and a third service center by the highway. Bright signs, new equipment, uniformed workers. People began asking questions. Then the rumors started. One evening at a small restaurant near the market, several men were talking loudly. "Something is not right," one of them said. "How does a roadside mechanic suddenly own 3 garages?" Another man leaned forward. "That kind of money does not come from fixing engines." Someone whispered a word quietly. "Fraud." Another added something worse. "Money laundering." Within weeks, the rumor spread across the town. People stopped saying hard-working mechanic. Now they said, "Suspicious businessman." The local business association received complaints. Some shop owners claimed Chinedu must be doing something illegal. Soon, the town council called a formal financial review. A letter was delivered to Chinedu's newest garage. He read it slowly, then folded it quietly. Workers looked nervous. "Boss, are we in trouble?" Chinedu simply shook his head. "No," but he said nothing else. 2 weeks later, a meeting was organized at the council hall. Business leaders sat at the front table. Several town officials were present. Even curious residents came to watch. Chinedu arrived wearing simple clothes, no expensive suit, no display of wealth, just the same calm-faced people had known for years. The council chairman spoke first. "Mr. Chinedu Okoye, your financial growth has been unusually fast." Murmurs filled the room. He continued, 3 garages in less than 1 year raises serious questions. Everyone turned toward Chinedu. But he remained quiet. One of the council members leaned forward. "Tell us honestly, where did the money come from?" For a moment, the room was silent. Chinedu slowly reached into a folder he'd brought with him. Inside were documents, old ones. Very old ones. He placed them on the table. "Bank records," he said softly. The finance officer began reading the statements. At first, the numbers were small. Very small. Deposits of $5. Sometimes 10. Occasionally 20. The records continued year after year. The officer frowned. "Wait, these deposits started 12 years ago." The room became quieter. More pages were examined. Every week, every month, small deposits. Consistent, disciplined. Never stopped. Then something else appeared in the records. Small investments, tool purchases, equipment upgrades, training payments. The council members looked confused. Finally, the finance officer closed the last document. He looked around the room slowly. Then he spoke. "These records show something very unusual." Everyone leaned forward. He continued. "For 12 years, Mr. Okoye saved almost every payment he earned." Some people in the audience exchanged surprised looks. The officer added, "He invested the savings gradually into better tools, equipment, and training." The room was completely silent now. Then he said the sentence that changed everything. "This success did not happen in 1 year." Paused. "It took 12 invisible years." One of the council members asked quietly, "Why didn't anyone know about this?" Chinedu smiled slightly. "When you work beside the road, people only see the dust." He continued calmly. "They don't see the nights you spend learning. They don't see the small money you refuse to spend. They only notice the day success becomes visible." Another document was opened. This one showed the turning point. 3 years earlier, Chinadu had used his savings to buy a large piece of diagnostic equipment most garages in the region did not have. Soon after, drivers from nearby cities began coming to him for repairs. The income increased. He reinvested everything: new tools, more workers, bigger space. Then the 3 garages were built. What looked like sudden wealth was actually 12 years of quiet preparation. The same people who had whispered accusations now looked embarrassed. Some lowered their heads, others avoided eye contact. The council chairman cleared his throat. "Mr. Okoye, there appears to be no evidence of wrongdoing." He paused. "In fact, your financial discipline is remarkable." Then he stood up. The entire room followed. Applause slowly filled the hall, not loud at first, but genuine. After the meeting, people gathered outside. Some wanted photos. Others wanted business advice. One young mechanic approached him nervously. "Sir, how did you become successful so fast?" Chinadu looked at him and smiled gently. "It was not fast." He pointed toward the road outside. "I just kept walking when no one was watching." Years later, the town still remembered that meeting, not because a man became rich, but because they learned something important. Success that looked sudden usually started long before anyone noticed.